There's one thing though the car has had since day one that's kind of bothered me. It's a little bit of a clunky thing. So that's what's in this box. We are going to install function first mounts. These work for both PDK and manual transmission. All right, we're going to try something new. I'm going to narrate this time. So here's my quick jacks. Let's get it all set up. Get your car in the air. And once you have it on the air, you need to remove this shield right here. And these are all T25s. Pull these T25s out. There's one step I forgot here, and I'm going to show it to you later. We're going to find out the hard way what I should have done. If you know what I'm talking about, then that means you've probably done it as well. So let's just break them loose first, and then I'll use the drill and break them out. I just want to break the fork first so I don't break the bit. Remember that piece I was telling you about? Yeah, it's right under here. It's where the rear cover meets the mid cover. It's that 10 millimeter nut right there needs to come off. It's a plastic nut. Take those off before you ever lift your car off the ground. And once you got it off, you can slide this out. Now, I've taken this cover out before, but at this point right here, I completely forgot how I did it. So I'm trying to remember how I took it out, but it's actually easier than you think. You just gotta, once you drop it down, you gotta be able to turn it and almost 90 degrees, and it'll come out. I couldn't remember that at this particular moment, so I took the easy route and I decided just lift the car back up and get it to come out. And you see once the car gets up, see it drops down right there, so now it's free and you can just pull it out of the way. I didn't actually have to do that, and I didn't realize I didn't have to do that until later on, and I'll show you that at the end. Alright, starting at the back of the car, working forward, you can see there's a transmission front of the engine. It's got some isolator foam things there that I didn't know were there. Porsche must have installed those because I bought this car with 30,000 miles, so they've probably been in since original. And to my surprise, there's another cover you got to remove to get to the bracket that holds your transmission mount. So we're going to take that bracket off. Pretty simple. 10 millimeter plastic nuts all the way down, zip those out, and then you have access to the bracket and to these Torx. It's an E20 and E24, and then these are 16 millimeter nuts. I'll show you that in a second. All right, with the cover off, you can now see the full access to the bracket that holds up your transmission. You're going to pull these 16 millimeter nuts and these coolant lines that are aluminum, and there's a fuel line right above that one. They just snap into that plastic. You're also going to take off this E20 and E24 E-torque bolt and nut, and two more 16 millimeters. They go on either side. And you'll also have to use a 7 millimeter to get that stud out on either side as well. These foam things, I did not know they were there. They're a lot thinner than what's going in. Alright, so now I lowered the car to the lower setting on the brake jacks, just so I could support the transmission with this jack, because I didn't have anything tall enough to reach it when it was in the higher setting. And I'm using a floor jack, a hockey puck, and a block of wood, and it's working great. And I'm using very little force to get these E-torque bolt and head out, and it comes out by hand because I have the jack just in the correct position. I'm doing the transmission, and now we're going to pop off our coolant lines, which you just push against them, and there's a little plastic above the metal frame, and it'll pop right out. There's one, and the fuel line, and now we can drop the tray out of the way. Alright, here's another 4-ism. See this? This is a drive shaft. It's right above the fuel line and the coolant lines. The drive shaft going from front to back, I'm looking towards the rear of the car now, is preventing me from removing this bracket that's there. I forgot to hit record, so I didn't record taking those bolts out, but you just pull those two 6 millimeter bolts out and the studs, and that bracket will be loose. Fortunately, that bracket has enough play I can get it out of the way without removing it. And there's what the mount looks like. And actually the mount looks like it's in really good shape. It's not messed up, it's not broken. I kind of see a little crack there. I can't tell. It actually looks overall in pretty good shape, and you can see the shape of it and how the new fitting is going to go in. So we're going to use silicone grease. You don't want to use anything with petroleum or oil, because it'll break down the rubber and it'll break down the new bushing filler, whatever you want to call it, from function first. You don't want to use, so you want to use silicone, and that's what they recommend. So I got this PP Blaster silicone, and I'm going to spray the heck out of this. It'll also help it slide in. Kind of hard to do this with my face so close to this. Right here you can see how close I am to the car. So it was pretty tight to get that in there, but I was able to do it by hand. That side that you're looking at now, I was able to get in no problem. The other side, it took me a few tries, and it was a little bit of frustration, but I finally got it in. Hitting it with the rubber mallet didn't help at all because it's rubber, so it just bounced off. But I got it in by hand, and then once it was seated, then I just tapped it a little bit. All right, here's the bolts I forgot to show you earlier, with the nut back on it. 7mm stud and a 60mm nut. Because I have my jack in a really good position, I can install this by hand, and you can see it goes through there, and I'm going to show you the other side here in a second, and you can see it's all the way through the entire thing. But I'm missing a step here, and I don't realize it in the moment. So I'll show you the step in a second, because what I'm doing right now is wasting time, because I'm going to have to take that back out, see if you guys can figure it out. Keep watching. These are the studs that the bracket holds on to, so you just want to make sure they're all the way in. They shouldn't have come down anyways. Now the bracket is back on. Snap your coolant lines and your fuel lines back into place, and they just clip in place. They hold on to that plastic. And it'll hold it up. With just snapping those on, it'll hold the bracket up. This is the step I forgot. I forgot you're supposed to sandwich this bracket in between the new bushing and the other frame right there. So now we have to get this back in. Now it's a little tighter. I still can do this by hand, and I did, but it was a little bit more of a fight to get it in, because now I have two different pieces of metal pushing against each other. So here we go. See, do I get it in? Yep, by hand, no tools. You saw that. And same as before, bolt comes all the way through the other side, and we're going to give it a little gentle love tap here in a second, and make sure it's fully seated before we put the nut on and start torquing it down. Alright, everything's back together. It's all torqued. You can see where the bushing is, and everything sits nice and flush. The final torque squeezed it down just that extra few millimeters, and these are thicker than the original ones, so they fit better as well. I didn't have any issue putting this all back together. It was tight, but it went in by hand. The torque on this bolt is 63 foot-pounds. So 63 foot-pounds. I did the torque on the nut side, not the head side, just to be safe, and I checked it a couple times. This is what comes off the car. These are some kind of dense foam, and I'm assuming that they're like noise or vibration isolators between those frames and the transmission, but they don't go into the voids of the transmission. That's where this kit that I bought from Function First is supposed to be better, because it goes into the voids and helps give your mount a better feel. Judging by the color and the way they feel, I think these are original from 2010. Alright, center cover's on, and you can still see the brace, half of it anyways, and the transmission, and there's the rear cover we're going to install in just a second. So this cover back here is carbon fiber, or at least like a carbon fiber Kevlar mix. It's so dirty you can't tell, but if you look at it really close and the way it feels very much like a carbon fiber. So you want to be very careful with it. Now remember before when I was talking about getting it in without that, and this is exactly what I did this time. I put it in almost at a 90-degree angle and then started turning it to get it on. Or to get it in position, I should say, not to get it on, to get it into position. What I should have done at this point is just get the quick jacks out of the way because they were hurting me more than helping me. But I didn't. I'm stubborn, so I kept going. And this was this is where that 10mm nut goes. And you see I have the quick jack off. Don't install these nuts till you're completely done. You don't need to do this right now. You can do this after everything's taken away and your car is sitting on the ground. You just do them by hand, and then you can use a little 10mm wrench and do it on the ground. Since I'm too lazy to move the quick jacks out of the way, I'm reaching between the quick jack. It's on the down position though, and just putting this in position. I'm not going to attach it. I just want it in position so that when I lift the car back up, I can reinstall it. And there's something else that I'm going to do shortly that I wish I would have done at the beginning, and it's going to help any of you guys who are using the quick jacks. This is actually a job that I wish I would have done using a full lift instead of a quick jacks. Alright, can you see what I'm doing wrong here? If you know, you know. Don't worry, I'm going to show you in a little bit, and I'm going to tell you about it. I'm using the quick jacks like design. I'm being careful not to pinch that carbon composite cover, and I'm going to put the car back up in the air, and we're going to screw everything else back in and get it aligned. You'll see real soon a difference and where I messed up, and I didn't realize it until then. You'll see. Luckily I didn't damage anything, so don't worry about me breaking something because I didn't break it, but I did mess up, and I got very lucky that I didn't damage something. So let me show you that here in a second once this gets all the way up to this full up position, and then we can get back onto the car safely. Alright, back under the car, and you can see now that I have it in the full up position, I can get under easier, and the quick jacks is not pinching the carbon piece here that I need to put back on. I need to align all these tubs, and this is one of those times that if you had an actual lift, it would have been a lot better and easier to do this job than the way I was doing it. But fortunately I did have a quick jacks lift which allowed me to do this, because I can't even imagine trying to do this on the ground and getting anything to work. Alright, everything lined up. Time to put some screws back in. So I have this drill set to super low torque, so don't worry that I'm just zipping them in there, because I'm going to go behind every single one and do it by hand afterwards. I just have this on the lowest torque setting so they'd go in easier. There we go, all done. All covers on, everything's on. I did all these screws by hand in the end to get the final torque, and everything is in a line now. Looks good. So if you look at the quick jack right there, look at what's under there, a hockey puck. You know why I put the hockey puck on there? So I would have a gap for that shield, or when I put it back on. So what you guys didn't see on camera or off camera was I went up and down a few times, and then I realized that not only had the car rolled a little bit, but I almost pinched the shield and almost jacked the car in the wrong position. But there we go. That's the final two 10mm plastic nuts you need to get on. And they don't take much force. And I'm just using a 10mm socket and a wrench to get it on there. And once you feel them snug up, stop so you don't break them off. On this particular job, I didn't break anything, didn't damage anything. On a previous job, I did break one of those off. So be careful. Work complete. Let's clean up the tools and get the car ready for a test drive. It's dark, so we'll do it tomorrow.
The next day.
Alright, so we're doing our test drive. Probably picked the worst time of day to do the test drive because it's afternoon rush hour traffic. So far, just leaving my house, a couple of good notes. Switching the car into reverse and then back into drive after coming down the driveway. I didn't have any clunks whatsoever, no noise whatsoever. Normally I would hear, especially when the engine's cold, the exhaust or the transmission is cold, you kind of hear a little metallic ting or something like that. Not always, sometimes. mostly because it's cold. So the transmission's real tight. I didn't have any of that at all whatsoever. So far that's good. I'm driving in normal mode, not in manual, until I get it warmed up here. And we're gonna switch to manual mode here in just a second. I brought my best friend Leo and Leo's son, who's actually laying in the seat underneath Leo. I want to do two things. I want to do back roads and I want to do freeway. I could tell you already. I've gone less than a mile, less than a quarter mile from my house, and I can tell you the transmission feels a lot better already. Oh, those upshifts are sweet. They are so good. The upshifts are wonderful. I never had a problem with the upshifts on this car. The problem with this car with the clunks was on downshift. If you didn't rev match, if you didn't have the RPMs just right, it would clunk a little when you downshift. Foot off the throttle completely, downshift. Nice. I felt where it would normally clunk just then, because I could feel the little tiny chassis movement, but it didn't clunk. It just shifted down very smoothly. Very smoothly. No clunk whatsoever. No vibration. Nothing. So we're just gonna keep going up and down gears and see how it feels. What's really nice about this part of this section of road is you don't have to go really fast, but because the curves are really tight, you're gonna have multiple upshifts and downshifts, and that's gonna give me a good basis for understanding how this function first insert is working. Wow! It shifts so much better. It shifts so much better. Wow. That's a downshift. I know it's hard to express on the screen and for you guys to feel, and for me to visualize what I'm feeling, the experience I'm feeling, but this is shifting amazing. It has never shifted this good since I've had the car. Not that it never shifted terribly. Let me be clear. Never shifted terribly, but it has not shifted this good since I've owned the car. And that's going fast, or say driving spiritedly. Driving normally, it's buttery smooth now. It's buttery smooth. Wow. Very, 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 very impressed with the shifting. It's crazy that something that small, a little piece of silicone and urethane or whatever it's made up of, made such a difference. I'm blown away. This is only the back roads. We have yet to hit the freeway. So stand by. We're gonna get off this road and fingers crossed we can have a little sprint on the freeway. I don't know, it's rush hour traffic, so we may not be able to, but we're gonna try. We're gonna give it a shot. All right, check back in a second when we get on the freeway. Did I mention rush hour? Yeah, we haven't even made it to the bridge or to the main road that tees into this road. We've got like probably another half mile before that, and we're stuck in gridlock traffic. Crazy. All right, we'll be back. So we are pulled over on an on-ramp. We're gonna do our little freeway sprint. There's a lot of traffic, but there's an on-ramp that I know that is has a very nice long run, and you can get a really hard pull on it. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me pull over here before this Prius gets in my way. Prius is trying to beat me off the line. All right, here we go. Oh, those shifts are so smooth. Oh my God, all the upshifts, downshift. Oh my gosh. That was perfect. That downshift was buttery smooth. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh, the shifts were super smooth. Buttery, silky smooth. Oh, I'm impressed. I am so impressed, but I would call this a total success. What do you think, Leo? Success? Yes. Success. Do I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. Some basic hand tools, I was able to do it on the garage floor with the car lifted in the air. If you don't have quick jacks, if you had strut towers, you could do the exact same thing. If you can get under your car with strut towers, you can do the exact same thing I just did. It is very, very mechanic friendly. Probably, it was one of the easier jobs. A little tedious with all the covers you have to remove, but it was one of the easiest jobs. What's up, Gordo? Hello, buddy. This is Leo's son. If you guys haven't seen Leo's son before, this is Gordelio. So these guys love to ride with me. Actually, they went on a road trip with me. What was that? It's been almost 2 years. 2 years ago, we did the road trip to cross country, 6,000 miles. What was it? 6 days or 10 days? I can't remember what it was. Yeah, actually, I'll just put a little picture of it right here. That was when we went cross country with both of these guys, and we did the north route there, central, back through Colorado, back through Utah, through the lake beds, the Salt Lake, and it was a blast. It was a good time. We need to do something like that again. What do you think, Perritos? We do another trip? Yeah, this summer? Let's do another trip. I like it. I like that idea. Let's do another trip. All right. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later. All right. So we are doing our test drive. That was shitty. This was probably easiestly